who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. This is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Well, hello. Thanks for joining us. I'm Fenton Bailey, co-founder of World of Wonder. Joining me is Tom Campbell.
Hello, Fenton.
Hello. Look, I've got a new button for you. For those of you watching at home at worldofwonder.net, we have a button for you for a nice solo
We have close-up cams, and they are really...
Woo! Okay, James, I'm going to come to you now.
us.
James, snatched for the gods.
Just did his Norma Desmond best.
Well, it's funny you mention that because, you know, every week we count down the top 10 things that made us go,
Wow.
But last night, James and I went on a bit of a date. We went to...
Oh, my God, you guys.
Visual aids. Look,
Yes.
I have the ticket.
We went to go see the Star Wars Born premiere at the Shrine Auditorium here in Los Angeles. And everybody who was anybody in Hollywood was there, mind you. Everybody was looking fabulous.
Excuse me, Blake, were you there?
I wasn't.
No, either was I. Continue.
Well, no, we are going to continue. I think we're going to count down. We're going to tease a little bit.
You've just done a deep tease.
Yes, and we're going to do more teasing because there is a lot to unpack.
Oh, my
And RuPaul's Drag Con is actually happening right now, so we're going to share some tips and insights of things we want to do at RuPaul's
Today,
Drag
Friday,
Con.
tomorrow, Saturday, next day, Sunday.
And
September
tickets-
28th,
Still get tickets,
30th.
right?
Tickets are still
Just show
available.
up.
RuPaulsDragCon.com or at the door.
At New York at the Javits Center. Just haul your cookies down there.
But let's get on with our countdown of the top 10 things that made us go wow.
Wow.
Let's start. Thanks, Blake. Wow. Gosh. Blake's been on vacation and
I'm ready for this.
Okay, well, then I think I know the number we begin with. It's number 10.
Number 10.
Quincy, the Netflix documentary. No, James. It's not about the Raymond Burr. The Jack Klugman.
TV series from the 1970s.
This is about the life and career and amazing trajectory of Quincy Jones.
Right.
A documentary that just premiered that has been co-directed by his daughter, Rashida Jones, who we know and love.
And Rashida Jones is the daughter of Peggy Lipton or
Peggy
Nastasia
Lipton.
Peggy Lipton.
Kinskin. Okay. Because
Gorgeous
he
Peggy
was
Lipton.
married to both two
Married
beautiful women.
several times.
Yes.
At one point, at the very end, not giving anything away, they ask him in footage, just like, so what's the one thing, because he's been successful at everything he's ever done beyond unbelievable. They go, what's the one thing you haven't been successful at? He's like, marriage. He's been married like 7 times, has many children. Quincy Jones' life story would be remarkable no matter what based on his accomplishment. The fact that he's an African-American man in the 20th century and was able to achieve what he was achieved is incredibly remarkable. The documentary is worth seeing as a piece of art and craft. It's a little choppy, but man, do you want to know about this guy's life. And it follows him today, and he has like 3 life-threatening incidents during the 3-year filming. He goes into a diabetic coma for a bunch of weeks. He has a blood clot, and it's like, and they capture some of it, like literally he's on stage teetering. So that part, like, I wasn't prepared for, and that part's like, wow, life is really precious, and I feel bad. And you're not.
So that's part of the narrative, right?
Yes,
Oh,
and part of that is you're seeing Quincy, who was such a sexy, vibrant playboy, sort of at his weakness.
Well, how old is he now then?
He's 82, I think.
Yeah.
Do we do like a deep dive into like just sort of his philosophy and does he talk a lot, or is it more like pictures and footage, film footage, or
it's a little bit of both. Like there'll be verite of like Rashida shooting him, like I don't know how to hold the camera, Dad, and like very intimate stuff, followed by these kind of packages that explain different periods of his, a little more sort of PBS kind of style with him narrating.
Right.
But there's even times where his speech is a little slurred, and then there's times where it's not. So it's like, it's amazing.
Because he's a very outspoken. He has some really wild and passionate views.
Well,
right?
Recently he's gone on saying he sort of trash talked Michael Jackson a little bit.
Yes,
things of that
I
nature.
remember.
But this is, so I was thinking it was going to be kind of more of a saucy tell-all.
Right.
And it's not. It's really more of a reflective thing about his life and his career. What I didn't know, and what forms a lot of his life, like so many in childhood, is that his mother, he grew up in the bad part of Chicago. He said he only knew thugs for like 7 years of life. That's what he wanted to be. That's all he saw. He didn't see a white person until he was 10 or something. But his mother he remembers his mother being thrown in the bed and taken out in a straitjacket. She was psychotic and she was mentally ill her whole life. And she would re-enter his life at different points, which was always heartbreaking because she was not well. And he ended up, his father was in the scene, but he was raised by his grandmother, who was born into slavery.
Oh, wow.
So from a man who was raised by one was born to slavery, he in the 50s had this incredible bebop career. Dinah Washington, the great Dinah Washington, took him under her wings, and he at one point he goes to the African American Smithsonian Museum because he actually produced the event, and it's sort of like him showing up at like, who do you want there? Will Smith, Oprah, like, you know, call these people. They're all my friends, and they all owe their careers to me. Oprah was discovered by him to be in The Color Purple.
Yes.
And
he had seen her. She had a morning talk show in Chicago, and he was in Chicago and
trying to cast Color Purple.
Yeah, but he didn't. But he was just watching the show, and he was like, "That's my Harpo."
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
And just little things, but like and you should watch it, but in the 50s, he was a director and arranger, and for like Duke Ellington, he worked with all these amazing people, but they wouldn't let black men arrange strings. I know. It doesn't make any sense. It just hit your head. So he went to Europe and he started with this woman who was in France who had worked with like Leonard Bernstein, and he broke that barrier. Then he was so broke, he had a band, but he was broke because he had spent too much money. So he went into pop music because he wanted a job as an A&R guy at Mercury. He ended up discovering Leslie Gore, a 16-year-old girl from New Jersey, had 18 hits with her, It's My Party, etc. Then Sinatra took him under his wing, and together they broke the race barrier in Las Vegas, because up until that point, 64, if you were a black artist, you could perform, but you had to eat in the kitchen and stay across town. And then he got into music scoring, and then he met Michael Jackson on the set of The Wiz, and Michael's like, I need a producer. He goes, I'm your producer, and you know the rest. I mean, it's just an amazing, amazing career. He's an amazing man.
And where's this documentary? Is it Netflix?
It's Netflix.
Okay.
Quincy.
It is Quincy, streaming now on Netflix.
Can't stop talking about it.
That's very good.
No,
it sounds amazing.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Full of it. No, time's up.
Blake gave us the wrap up, but it's like,
well, if we ever paid that,
because I actually thought I was going to probably, just skip it. Like I wasn't feeling the urgency to watch it.
His life is so remarkable; it needs to be recognized.
Right. James, what do you got for us at number 9?
Number 9.
we're going from high to low.
That's why I love this show. That's why I watch every week.
We're going to talk about the bat dong, the bat penis, the bat dick. It's what's on everybody's lips right now.
Wait, I was cut short, so he can talk about them. Go ahead.
DC Comics has come out with a new imprint called Black Label. It's for more mature audiences. And in this first issue of Batman Damned, the Joker is dead, and everyone thinks that Batman has done it, and there's sort of it's very mature, and it's very grim, it's very dark, it's very violent, it's relentlessly violent, everything. But then about 3/4 of the way through, all of a sudden Bruce Wayne is just walking around naked, and you see his bat dick. You see his Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne.
And not only do you see his Lil Wayne in 3.
You've really prepared this.
He's got a good butt. I can see his butt.
You see his butt. You see 3. It's in shadows. Okay, hold on. Right there, you can get up.
I don't want anyone looking at this. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Wow, yes, okay.
Where's young Dick Grayson?
Oh, wait, I'm trying to...
Dick isn't in this one, but
It's
then
a little
you can
blur.
also see Dick, you can also see penis there, and you can see it there as well.
Why is he wandering around naked, pray tell?
Well, because they found him at the bottom of the Gotham River or something like that, and he takes off his bat suit and he's wandering around the Batcave naked, as one does.
So it's not sexual per se.
No.
It's just
and that's
Batman in the Raw.
And yet you would think that the world was coming to an end because conservative groups are picketing DC. They're saying they aren't letting their kids read Batman anymore. They are, are corrupting the youth of America. There have been picket lines. People are saying to boycott it. There is a group called Genital Autonomy of America who is mad because Batman is circumcised. I swear to God. And they said that the amputation of body parts by non-consensual minors should be outlawed, and Batman should either look into foreskin restoration or come out publicly against circumcision. And this is a whole big thing.
Yeah, foreskin restoration is a big business and not entirely successful, I believe. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just spouting off about something I don't know.
Just put a lot of weights on it.
Do they just stretch it out?
Yeah, apparently.
I've tried. I've tried many times. Oh, but that's neither here nor there.
TMI.
I would like to say though that that DC has caved to public pressure. They have they've said that they will not distribute it anymore. They will they have taken it off the shelves.
This is a rarity. Then. This is a collectible.
Rarity. They said that the nudity
Get
did
your
not
grubby
add.
fingers off it.
The nudity didn't add anything to the story, which it never does. But who cares? It's nice to see. But
I love that. I love that there's nudity that isn't sexualized, but normalizes the human body, which we're all born with.
I'm sorry, it's a slippery slope because once you're nude, you got to do things with it. There's got to be things doing with that schlong.
Oh, it's the showbiz advice that if you introduce a gun into a scene, you have to shoot.
It's
it.
like the hard drive.
Yeah.
It's like what's the gateway drug? Gateway cock.
Well, I mean, now we need to see. Now we need to see the bat erection.
Yes.
Then we need to see bat penetration.
Yes.
You know, it is.
It's anal. The next thing you know, it's anal.
What about Catwoman's pussy?
Oh, now nobody needs to see that. But
Can this not be the excerpt part of the show that we put online to have people watch? Because we always are talking about penises, and my Aunt Hazel is starting to worry that I'm on a very, very dirty show.
But it is. There were only 110,000 copies that were made,
Wow.
and so it is an instant collector's item. I saw on eBay that a signed copy from the artist is going for $75,000.
And how much did you pay for that one?
$475.
He shoplifted
something
it.
like that. So anyway,
All right, okay.
Batman Damned.
You can see Bat Dick now on the WoW Report at worldofwonder.net/Radio Andy.
Take off your parental controls.
Okay. Number 8.
Number 8.
Went to see Fahrenheit
11.9.
11.9. Do you know, I am a little slow. I was like, why did he reverse it? Why is it 11.9 as opposed... I knew it was Fahrenheit 9/11 because of 9/11.
Ray Bradbury.
But I wasn't sure why it was 11.9
Why is
until
it
I was like,
What?
that was the
Election
day
day.
after the election. The election was the 8th, right? So the
I thought
result
the election was the 6th.
No, it was the
I think
8th.
it's the 8th.
So, anyway, this is a film ostensibly Michael
Always
Moore's...
have our facts very straight here.
Michael Moore's latest documentary, ostensibly a sort of rant against Trump, long anticipated. You know what? I was there on a Thursday night. They have these like sort of preview screenings at the Grove. Empty. Maybe
Really?
5 people. And it turns out it's a huge bomb.
You know,
it is
listen,
a huge bomb. And this is the film that we needed, but it
Yeah,
is
I
not
was
the
just gonna
film
say.
that we have been given.
We were hoping that Michael Moore was going to come save the day and get people energized
Right.
again.
There's a
and
great line in the film where he recaps the election and you know Trump's not going to win and you know all the indicators and then Trump wins and it's like Michael Moore says, how the fuck did this happen? How the fuck did this happen that this film isn't working? It's because I think he doesn't really attack Trump.
Oh.
He says that the whole Trump phenom is a long time coming and lays
Which
a
it
lot of
is.
blame on Hillary.
Which,
On Obama,
you know, you can say
on Bill
yeah.
Clinton. Yes, but James, this is not what we need to hear
No,
right now. This
No,
is like,
but the
this
reality is that you know there is such a backlash to the Obama years that it is the last gasp of those types of the rednecks and the strict right wing that they.
But I'm guessing, having heard him speak about this, it's not last gasping he's talking about. He's saying that Clinton and Obama did harm to this country.
Yes, he was. There's one of the best sequences in the film is when he talks about the Flint water crisis, which I feel was the film he probably was making.
When the election
And it-
happened.
Yeah, I mean, he got sort of diverted. And it is a great film. And he talks about Rick Snyder as this sort of proto-Trump character who ran a business, no political experience, came into office and promptly set about dismantling the usual the machinery of democracy. He ran Gateway Computers. Remember those computers with the sort of cowhide patch, the moon? So
Yeah.
kind of crap.
Yeah.
That
computers.
folded.
Yes.
But didn't they have the
So-
really cute spokesperson?
No,
But
that was
Obama
Dell.
went to...
I love, dude. You're getting Adele.
Oh, I loved him.
I loved him.
I love
That
Adele.
was Adele. Obama
singer
went to
Adele.
Flint and made jokes about the water crisis, and the whole thing plays horribly and terribly. But there isn't an equal attack on Trump. In trying to explain how he ended up
Right.
with Trump, he fails to attack the target. It's an extraordinary
But doesn't he think that
misfire,
that's
frankly.
the way to maybe get some of the people who are undecided?
people to
no,
come
no.
across?
So the people who are undecided, and if you attack
No,
them,
because his whole thing is ultimately revolution and capitalism's got to end, and that isn't going to happen next election. right?
Not until my car lease runs out.
Wait, you think that 2018 is doomed? You think the blue wave isn't happening?
No, I think the blue wave may happen, but this film is not helping the blue wave any way whatsoever.
So it's a good thing no one went to see
Well,
it.
exactly. I think people, also, I mean, there's all sorts of.
But also, is that a portent? Does that portend that the blue wave isn't quite as powerful as that we think it is?
We should not take the blue wave for granted.
No, and everybody listening within the sound of our voices must vote. And if they're not registered, it's not too late. It's registered. Time to register.
You can
right?
register.
Yeah, register to
Vote
vote. And
blue
vote.
to save America.
All right, so that is
Number 8.
Fahrenheit 11.9 select theaters. That's number 8. Yeah. Okay. So RuPaul's Drag Race this weekend. What are you going to see, Tom?
DragCon. One of the things I'm very
DragCon.
interested in is that Trixie and Katya,
Yes.
who have a killer web series. They've been on Viceland, and Katya had a little she stepped away from the drag for a little bit. She's back, and Trixie and Katya will be doing their show live at DragCon. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's like they're reuniting.
Yeah.
Reunited, and it feels so good.
It's like the Beatles
And
are back together.
They have a big
Exactly.
announcement to make about something on Well Presents Plus.
They do, so you better be there.
What?
It's true. It's true. You'll have to be there.
You can get your tickets at RuPaulsDragCon.com. Hey, so James and I went a little hoary last night, right? The other night
yeah.
we went to the.
You guys
premiere.
went to the premiere of A Star Is
Star Is
Born.
Born. Do you
I'm
know who
supposing
we
you could
saw?
only
All
get
right.
2 tickets.
Can I just tell you
I'm
who?
assuming a third ticket was impossible to get.
Well, they said you can have a third, but I was like, no, no, thank you.
But can I just tease a few names for you?
Oh, yes, you may.
Gloria Estefan,
Rhythm is going to get her.
Lorna Luft,
Lorna Lush.
representing Judy Garland.
Yes, the legacy.
Yes, we also had Barry Manilow. You had Steven
What?
Spielberg. You had
No.
yes,
No.
you had Jerry Seinfeld.
It was in that center section.
Yeah.
James and I were like off in the,
Yeah, the
out-
hinterlands.
But listen, you guys know everything about Star Is Born because this is not the first time they've made this film, right?
Right, yeah.
So the question before the break
Yes.
is, how many versions of A Star Is Born are there? What is the name of the first iteration?
Oh, yeah.
It's too easy, right?
No. Actually, the first iteration is really difficult. I can't remember.
You're
It's not the
listening-
Frederick March and Janet Gaynor one.
You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio and SiriusXM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
So, welcome back to the Wow Report. I am Fenton Bailey. I'm joined by Tom Campbell, James St. James, and Blake Jacobs, of course.
Hi.
Hey, Blake.
So, it's all about Star Is Born is our sort of sub-theme.
Did I mention that Chrissy Metz was there?
And RuPaul was there,
so
of
much
course.
to talk
RuPaul, yeah.
So, the question is, how many versions of Star Is Born have there been? And what was the name of the first one?
Well, this is the 5th.
I didn't know that. So there's this one. There's the one with Barbara Streisand. There's the one with Judy Garland. Going
There's
back
the
to
one with Janet Gaynor, and Frederick March, and then there's one before that that was not a musical. That was an acting one. Instead of being musical stars,
Yes.
they're actors, and it starred.
You know what? I don't know who it starred, but it was made in 1932.
Yeah.
That much I can tell you. And it was called
Yeah. We don't know.
What Price Hollywood?
What Price Hollywood?
Or The Truth About Hollywood. And in fact, they thought about suing, the makers of the film thought about suing whoever it was who made the first Star Is Born. I guess David O. Selznick, right? Yep. And the first What Price Hollywood was an RKO production, RKO Studios.
Which is interesting because I have an RKO story later in the show.
Stay tuned.
Just ties up in a big
I love
bow.
it. Okay, so we'll get back on track. We're counting down the top 10 things that made us go,
Wow! Hold on one second. I have breaking news. What Price Hollywood, and I remember it now. Constance Bennett and Lowell Sherman. But Constance Bennett, we know.
And it was based on a true story, wasn't it? Supposedly. Yeah, some actress with a drunk producer. Yeah.
Well,
What's
that's
new?
everybody.
Ribbons, goodbye.
All right. What have we got at number 7, Tom?
Number 7.
It's early October, but this is a little public service reminder. Halloween's coming. What's going to be your costume? And I have some bad news, James.
What?
The slutty Handmaid's Tale outfit has been taken off the market.
I was all ready to wear it.
Yandy.com, which is your favorite online site for shopping.
They are quite controversial, if I remember.
They make slutty everything, right?
Yes.
What are some of the other things
I
they've
know
done?
they got in trouble for doing the slutty slutty pregnant Kendall or Kylie Jenner last year. They have done a slutty Caitlyn Jenner, which was also in very poor taste.
And they also did Kim Kardashian like tied up in Paris when she got robbed.
They also did a slutty Ebola nurse, I think, one year.
That's hot and topical. Just speaking for the Yandy people, it's a sort of lingerie year-round.
Yeah, what makes slutty handmaid tale different?
Let's let the Yandy spokesman speak for us. Yandy's always has stood and will continue to stand at the forefront of encouraging our customers to, quote, own your sexy, James St. James. Own it. We support our customers being comfortable in their skin, regardless of who they are or what they choose to wear. Our corporate ideology is rooted in female empowerment and gender empowerment overall. Sounds good, right? But over the past few hours, it has become obvious that our Yandy Brave Red Maiden costume,
for legal purposes,
avoiding all copyright infringements, is being seen as a symbol of women's oppression rather than expression of women's empowerment. This is unfortunate, as it was not our intention on any level. Don't we know that feeling? We never mean to offend, and yet week after week, day after day, we offend. Our initial inspiration to create the piece was through witnessing its use in recent months as a powerful protest image. Given the sincere, heartfelt response, supporting by numerous personal stories we've received, we're moving the costume from our site. What do you think? Are we all just too? I'm very anti-pro.
Let's see.
Are we all just way too?
We'll flash to it, I guess.
Are we all too just?
Knee-jerk reaction to anything that...
The whole point about Halloween is to be incorrect, to be transgressive.
Shocking and to be,
There isn't, do you remember when the Tylenol killer was on the loose?
And you dressed as a Tylenol?
People were everyone was dressed as Tylenol boxes and things.
But people kind of made them, right? It's now that people buy them, it gets to a corporate thing, it gets to stockholders. Because, I have a lot of stock in Zandy.com. If Zandy.com goes down, so does Tom Campbell. My whole retirement was based around...
Your 401k is nothing but Yandy.
Zandy.com. Yandy. I'm torn. I just keep thinking, and I'm trying to be two-faced, but don't buy it if you don't like it.
We're going to get inundated with protests.
I remember the day after the O.J. Simpson killed Nicole Brown Simpson, I was dressed as Nicole Brown Simpson's bloody corpse, and when I went out that night, and that was just something that we did.
James, you are fired.
This is before the internet.
This is.
So you had to create a visual to remind a conversation piece.
Yes, and I remember just many, many times as a club kid dressing in very inappropriate outfits.
Right.
And,
if any outfit at all.
Right.
Yeah, but anyway, so you can't buy it anyway. So you have to, if you still want to be slutty handmaid tale, James, you're gonna have to hit the old sewing machine.
Well, okay, but what do you, James? If you were, sadly, you're not going to be at DragCon.
No.
But tell me what you would like to do if you were.
There are two of them that I'd like to see.
Yeah.
There's the Michael Musto interviewing Suzanne Barsh about her documentary On Top.
Yes.
I think that will be a fun one. That'll be a very clubby one. Everyone will be there, and also Nico Tortorella is doing a gender, what is it?
Beyond the Binary
with Aja and someone else, I can't remember. But I love Nico. I think Nico is absolutely fantastic. I think he's a wonderful role model.
So if you the clarification, it's DragCon New York City at the
Thank you for that.
At the Javits Center. I want to say the Kravitz Center, but that would be the neighbor of Bewitched, Mrs. Kravitz. This is the Javits Center, just for people who are 50 plus.
All right, so we're moving on to number 6. What have you got, James?
Number 6.
I went out for the first time. I went to a nightclub for the first time in 2 years. If you ever would have told me that in my 20s that I would not go to clubs, it's just shocking. I went out. I had a wonderful time. I went to Evita, the grand reopening of Evita. And
did the whole crowd stop?
It was like the party of the Red Sea.
And then they played your theme song. And you were like, thanks for
Money,
remembering.
Success, fame, glamour. I jumped on stage. But it's a really cute crowd. Everybody there is really adorable. It's all little draglets and club kids.
What
and
part of
everything.
town? Forgive me.
It's next to STK on La Cienega.
Okay, so it's right there in Party Room. Restaurant restaurant row and party row.
I went to go see Daphne Guinness perform. Do you know Daphne Guinness?
Well, I know Daphne Guinness of the fantastic Instagrams of her very severe look, like out of. I mean, it's just fantastic.
Her
tottering
fashion-
around on Uber. In a way, she's Gaga-esque, isn't she?
Well, Gaga has said that she has taken a lot of her style notes from Daphne Guinness. They're good friends now. Daphne Guinness is a socialite model. She's been on the best dressed list since 1994. Every single year, she's a former Warhol socialite. She's in her 50s.
Looks amazing.
Now she's decided to become a rock star. She is a billionaire.
50s is a little.
It is. It's
I'm not
shocking.
shaming, not age shaming,
but it is.
yeah.
It's interesting. She's the heir to the Guinness beer fortune. Her grandmother.
I didn't know that.
Yes, her great grandmother was Diana Mitford of the Mitford sisters.
Oh, my God.
Who married Sir Oswald Mosley, the head of the fascist.
They're the sort of Ava Brauns of Britain.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, exactly.
Slightly unfortunate.
She then also
Back in
Daphne
fashion.
in the 80s married Stavros Niarchos' son. Aristotle Onassis' great rival.
Oh my goodness.
And Paris Hilton, then was going to be with the other Niarchos kid. Anyway, she
Daphne.
Daphne. No, she's brilliant. She's absolutely fabulous. Anybody who was there. David LaChapelle, Michael Schmidt,
What's the
Annie
name of the
Flanders.
band?
What?
What's the name of the act?
Well, she's very Bowie-esque. I don't know
Is
any
she a
names.
solo?
She's a solo act, and she performs in these fabulous outfits with the hair.
Costume
and
changes?
No, she's in beaded cat suits, that type of thing. And then
Good songs?
really good song, very Bowie-esque. I'm thinking you would like them. She has an album out now called Daphne and the Golden Chord, and it's
love that. It's like Jason and the Golden Fleece.
And her great mentor, who produces all of her albums and everything, is Luciano Visconti, who is Visconti's grandson.
Yes, right. You can't be a nobody on a Daphne Guinness album. Aristocrat.
But David
tambourine.
LaChapelle has done a number of her videos. I really wish you should just check them out. Just Daphne Guinness. She's absolutely spectacular. And I went to go into her VIP room. I sort of pushed my way in, and I was like, Daphne, it's James, St. James. And she looked like I was about ready to attack her.
Did she have her tasers?
No, but they were coming to get me to pull me off of her as I sort of stumbled out, and I was like, it's so good to see you.
Daphne does not need a taser. She has a look that could free
Yes,
you.
and she did. She sort of backed into a corner a little bit like that.
Daphne
So
came to the World of Wonder Gallery for one of our
she did for the Trump, our anti-Trump thing. She was there, and that's when she became great friends with Raja. Just dropping names left and right, left and right. So so I had a marvelous time at Evita.
Well, actually, speaking, so Daphne Guinness's album, Daphne and the Golden Chord, out now.
Yes.
Out now. Okay, so I didn't go anywhere, actually. At number 5.
Number 5.
I'm hooked on Instagram. Okay, but I've sort of found I have these Insta crushes.
Yes.
Where I just start following someone on Instagram,
You
and
don't
it isn't
really know anything about them. You've never
nothing,
met them.
nothing.
But you just somehow you
lured
stumbled across
in,
them.
and you're like, oh, this is
Yes.
and you're in a sort of detective novel of sorts. You're trying to piece together what they're like, who they
What's
are,
real,
what
what's
they're
fake.
into. Yeah, so
There's
sort of
a
pierce
couple of them.
behind the veil,
Yes.
because we all know Instagram's about making your life look a lot better than it is. I found someone, and I suppose in a way I was going to call this real crazy rich Asians, Prince Mateen, who is on Instagram he's at TMSKI. And he is one of the sons of the Sultan of Brunei.
Who was a very good-looking man in his youth as well, if I believe.
And aren't they the gay-hating culture that
Yes,
owns the
there's
Beverly
this,
Hills Hotel?
This is the fly
That
in
makes
the
it even hotter. Go on.
Fly in the ointment. This is
A little self-loathing
This
is
is a
always
side
good.
problem.
Yeah, there's going to be a little backlash here.
But Prince Mateen, he's, there is, in the same way that the British royal family may well change with the young princes.
Yes.
So perhaps there is hope with, I don't think Prince Mateen, who just turned 27, I think he's sort of quite far down. He's the 10th child and the 4th son, so I don't think he's going to become Sultan anytime soon.
But he does have he might be able to sort of change public opinions and be an influencer. Yeah, and
he does seem actually kind of enlightened.
So is it pictures or does he do stories?
Well, the thing is, it's very drag because he's always in a different outfit. He's a pilot, or he's in a polo outfit, or he's in a suit, or he's in some...
He does wear a lot of the chains and the
right.
with a little
Ornamental royal
Yeah,
dress.
Michael Jackson.
He's very Michael Jackson.
And he has a leopard cub in his bedroom. So I mean, I tell you, and he was asked in GQ. He was like sort of saying, well, how does he find being in the spotlight? And he said, well, I was born into it, so it is a norm for me. I think if you're born into it, being in the spotlight constantly since you were young, you become used to it, and it doesn't really get into your head, and so it doesn't bother me. Isn't that nice?
I also...
He does seem kind of humble, actually. I mean, yes, I should say he's quite cute, right, James?
He's
you were
gorgeous.
very...
He's very stunning. I also have a crush on the Egyptian Sheikh Faz, I think is his name. They call him Sheikh Faz.
Sheikh Faz.
He's very handsome, but once again, I don't think that it's something that I should mention in public.
It's...
Well, thank God it's on the show where no one listens to it, so your secret's safe here. What's his name again?
Prince Mateen.
Prince Mateen. Mm-hmm. Is he thirsty? Does he show you like flesh? Is there like
no? There's no flesh because he's brunette.
He's always in different outfits.
I'm just asking.
He is just like he's just like a drag queen.
But he's not in speedos. He's not.
No, that's why he's not on my feed. And then does he do stories? Does he do video or just photographs?
So far it's just photographs. I have to say I'm a little bit slow on the. Are you into the stories?
I don't make them, but I watch them.
Yes, right.
I'm too old
I follow
to even watch them.
John Hill in every Uber he's ever in.
Well,
I was and I don't know how to comment. I just watch everything.
Stories
I feel
give you
very a part of people's mundane life.
Trivia.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, anyway,
John
Prince
Hill.
Mateen
I love
at
you, John Hill.
TMSKI.
I'm also in love with Frances Winter. Hello, darling.
This isn't really the forum for that.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
All right, so here's
Thank you for playing.
Back to A Star Is Born.
More Star Is Born trivia? I can't wait.
Okay.
Wait, someone else who was there? Can I tell you someone else who was there? What?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't remember that. Anyway.
You invent him. Not Tom. I know Tom wasn't there.
Our Lady J. We had a marvelous conversation with Our Lady J.
beautiful
Just
was she.
absolutely wonderful. I love her.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, which is the longest of them all? You have to know the lengths of the different Star Is Born iterations. We're talking about 1937, 1954, and 1976. Oh, I guess we can toss in 2018 as well.
Okay.
Well, 2018 is 2 hours, 15 minutes.
It did, and you feel every second of
James.
it. No, I'm sorry, my butt fell asleep. I'm sorry.
That's more about your butt than the movie.
By the last song, I was like, let's get this over with. Come on, belt out that last number.
You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy, SiriusXM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Welcome back. I'm Fenton. I'm here with Tom, James, Blake. We're counting down the top 10 things, as we do normally, that make us go, wow. James and I went to the premiere of
I'm sorry, who went? Just the two of you?
It was the most fun I've had in years.
I just don't remember. No, I didn't go. You guys went.
It was at the Shrine Auditorium, which is significant because it was there that Barbara Streisand performed. No. It was there in the 1950s. Judy Garland.
Yes, and they said that Judy sat right here on the stage and performed for the opening night of the Star Is
And
Born.
of course, they filmed one of the key sequences.
And I told you Lorna Lump was there.
Yeah, Lorna left.
Yes, you did. Okay, so Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, which is the longest of them all? The 1937 version, the 1954 version, or the 1976 version?
It's interesting because Tom and I were just talking about this 10 minutes ago.
We were
talking about
not even knowing it was a quiz.
Because the Judy Garland version, there is an extended...
The full version with the big production number and all the scenes that have been edited out, that they ended up cutting down, I think was longer. I think it was 3 hours something.
Yeah.
You are right. It was
Yeah.
3 hours and 2 minutes.
Uh-huh.
And how long was the 76 version?
In the 30s, those were...
2 hours.
Oh.
It's 1976, darling.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the
It was 2
Constant
hours. It was
Bennett.
the same length as the 2018 one. 2 hours 16.
Well, how long was the Constance Bennett one?
1 hour 51.
Janet Gaynor one.
Okay.
All right,
well,
I love numbers on radio. I love a lot of numbers on driving.
Okay. Number 4, Tom.
Number 4.
Speaking of numbers.
What did Deborah Messing, Tracy Morgan,
What?
Ashley Judd,
What?
Will Smith,
I don't
Naomi
know.
Watts, and Celine Dion and Michelle Visage have in common?
Oh, they're all 50.
they're turning 50 years old. Michelle Visage, who is RuPaul's right-hand woman on RuPaul's Drag Race, who is about to go to the West End in the
Yes, she is.
musical
Jamie.
about
A best-selling author?
best-selling author on track 9 on the
Biggest selling album of
on
all
the
time.
soundtrack.
I believe it's called Everybody's Talking About Jamie.
Everybody's talking about Jamie. Thank you. Is the play that she's in.
Oh, thank you. I just said Jamie, the teenage drag
see
queen. And that's what it's about.
Turned 50, and Randy Barbato threw her a 50th surprise party. We think she was surprised. If she wasn't surprised, she should win the Oscar this year because she did that whole. You know when people are truly surprised? Because I've done shows like ambush shows where you knock on people's door and like. You know what people look like when they're surprised? They just look.
They don't look camera ready.
No, they don't look camera ready, and they're just taking in the information. Like what? And then you say, okay, can we do it one more time? And this time go, what? it's always a second take.
She was performative in a pitch perfect way,
She
right?
did, yes.
Yeah.
And Randy has a beautiful house up in the hills. It was a special
disgusting.
night with almost a full moon. Randy has this indoor-outdoor flowing home. Fenton was there.
Just jealous.
I was not.
James was not. 'Cause
I'm
he
not,
was preparing.
but I am not going
He
to
was
throw a fit
preparing
about
for
this.
A Star Is Born. And
I don't care.
Leah Remini, who's a good long-term friend of Michelle's, was there. There was just a lot of us, and you know, I can't believe Michelle Visage is 50 years old. She doesn't look 50 years
does
old.
not.
She looks absolutely spectacular.
She looks 60.
Oh, that's
Just
because we
kidding,
love her.
Michelle.
Thank you, Blake. One of the little features at a Hollywood party, just so you know, is that Michelle loves puppies, so her husband arranged for there to be a little puppy petting place. There's a company you can rent only in LA where you can sit and pet puppies.
we were sort of speculating, like, what happens when they're no longer puppies?
Oh. Yeah, back to the.
I did
gonna
want to
look
go there.
about
Why
that
can't we
area.
stay with the happy thoughts?
I'm just dark. It's for the British piece
Yeah.
of me. But then the other thing was, it happened to be Randy's actual birthday as well.
And he-
Randy's considerably older than 50, but,
Oh,
but younger
girl.
than me, in fairness.
But he
So-
gave up his birthday party to give it to
Yes.
Michelle.
Well, we gave-
That is a true gentleman.
So we
Yes.
surprised Randy with a cake too.
Oh, that's nice.
Randy's cake was a middle finger cake. It
Oh,
was
I
a
did
cake,
see that on
yes.
Instagram, yes.
And let's just say Michelle's cakes had nipples. There was 2 of them. They were large. One was vegan. It was a nice night, and I just, we talk about Michelle here and there, but there's such deep love for Michelle Visage here at the World of Wonder,
sure.
and I feel like she's just begun. There's something about Michelle who has reinvented herself literally from like this blonde chanteuse in Seduction. It takes 2 to make a thing go right. And a rapper on this Bounty soundtrack. She was RuPaul's sidekick on the talk show. They do What's the Tea, the podcast, which if you haven't heard of, you must listen
She
to.
was a Voguer years before that.
She grew up
had
in
a-
the ball scene.
In fact, this weekend at DragCon, you can catch Ru and Michelle doing What's the Tea live.
Yes.
They're doing 3 podcasts, all live, and
Yes.
you can go and sit in the audience and watch, which will be kind of cool.
But it is interesting because I remember when I was growing up and people in their 50s, their lives were over. Why would they even try and do anything? They were old.
No.
No. I don't.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, no. But now that I'm 50 something, like
You're
all of a
nuts.
sudden, like my life is just beginning. And
Have
like
to
I
act
remember.
surprised. Wait a minute. James, no, you're 50. Keep going.
51.
I remember taking my mother to a club one time in New York and thinking like, oh, this is so embarrassing. Like, why would a 50-something-year-old person be at a club? And now, it's
Every
just,
2 years, whether you wanted to be in the club or not, you go.
It's true.
I took my parents to a club in New York, the Limelight, and they wouldn't let them in. It was the most mortifying experience.
No.
Hilarious. That's a club scene. Can I just say a belated and a beloved happy birthday to Michelle Visage?
And Michelle Visage will be playing the role of Miss Hedge in Everybody's Talking About Jamie, London's West End, beginning October 18th at the Apollo
And she's
Theatre.
at RuPaul's Drag Con at the Javits Center all weekend long.
And next week she'll be on this show, standing in for James.
She will.
I've always thought it'd be nice to mix things up, to have a woman as a permanent member of our trio.
Do you ever watch the Rachel Maddow show?
In
Between segments, they
How
go.
dare you ignore me? What? I was just having Michelle move in on you. Move in on your space.
What's going on? Why are you all attacking me? I'm not a woman. What is going on? Please.
I'm trying to talk about the Rachel Maddow transitions. You know where they go, and they go whoosh.
I'm a Lawrence O'Donnell fan. I love him.
Okay. James, number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3, I watched on TCM the other night, The Big Street. Is this something you are acquainted with?
I've not seen it recently, but I have seen it.
Holy moly. It's 1942. It's based on a Damon Runyon short story. Damon Runyon is, of course, New York, 1930s, gangsters, everything like that. It stars Henry Fonda and Lucille Ball. Henry Fonda is a mousy little busboy who falls in love with this glamorous but hard as nails showgirl played by Lucille Ball. And this is one of those rare movies where Lucille Ball plays a bitch. Okay? She is she is a heartless gutter snipe. She is a foul-mouthed trollop. She is just a horror. Okay? She treats him, it's very much like Of Human Bondage, where she's just this like low-class piece of trash, and he falls in love with her, and he'll do anything for her. At a certain point, and you forget really how beautiful Lucille Ball was.
Oh, no. Amazing.
This is her in her late 20s. She was an RKO princess at the time. She did a lot of Ginger Rogers-esque showgirl roles.
So this was all before, like, even I Love Lucy.
Yeah, this is 1942. This is 10, 15 years before.
Black and white.
Yeah, black and white. But at a certain point, the movie takes a sharp right turn and veers into camp. It just goes off the rail, where she gets pushed down a flight of stairs and she becomes paralyzed. And he takes her in, and she borders him around. She's abusive to him. At one point,
he's the only one in the world who will like come to her rescue.
And nobody else, everyone has abandoned her, but she's still in her, her fur coat in this low class apartment. She won't let any of his friends around. Anyway, at one point she says that she needs to go to Miami, and they can't get any money to go to Miami, so he pushes the wheelchair down the highway from Manhattan to Miami. Okay, she gets to Miami.
Done in a montage.
She gets to Miami, and she's trying to scheme to get to win the heart of this
millionaire playboy
who's just as nasty as she is. And when he finds out that she's paralyzed, he'll have nothing to do with her. And then it gets very maudlin at the very end.
But there's one thing. She sets it up to fool the millionaire playboy. So he'll put her in a beach cabana and like cover her legs. And she'll just be like on the beach, like, well, that's not a long-term plan. Because eventually,
and then eventually he sees her her being carried, and so he's like, he says, ugh, and he like has nothing to do with it. But at the very end, they try and she sort of softens to Henry Fonda, and she becomes very nice. And there's a scene at the very end where he's dancing with her, and he
puts her limp feet on his shoes,
and she's wearing a stolen gown and stolen jewels, and she just looks beautiful again. And she says, I could be happy if I could see the sunrise one time. And they go dancing over to the window to see the sunrise, and she dies in his arms. Spoiler alert. And it's you literally are sobbing. It is so good because she travels from just being this horrid bitch to being this.
And there's a staircase involved. Does
he walks the dead body up the staircase and shows the sunrise to her.
God.
It is one of these. It's because it's so emotionally provocative, and yet it doesn't make any sense. No, it doesn't matter.
But Agnes Moorehead is in it. I don't know if you remember. The Eugene Pallett, the big guy who's in every MGM movie ever.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Does he really push in a wheelchair from Manhattan to Miami?
Don't they like get on trains and stuff too?
No.
He just pushes
they're
her.
at the Holland Tunnel, and everyone is beeping and honking as he's pushing it through. Then you see, eventually he gets like on like the back of a wagon with a bunch of pigs, and then the wheelchair is on that.
Yeah,
and then later they're like hitchhiking, and then like they're sort of dragged like part of the way.
That's how people got around.
Yeah.
Can I just say that's when she and Hank became best friends?
Oh.
And they were united for a movie. You know what that was?
The long
60s. Yours, mine, and ours.
Yes, of course. But I do want to say that you can watch this on Amazon Prime Video, YouTube, and Vudu, and TCM on Video on Demand.
And James is also recreating it at his desk every hour on the hour.
Because she has these great Damon Runyon-esque lines where she's like, "Why go evaporate? Go evaporate!" Like she keeps like those sort of 30s. Yeah. Oh, evaporate you! Like it's just very funny.
It wasn't your first time seeing it, was it?
No, I saw it like 20 years ago, but this
But
really...
with James' damaged memory, it feels like the first time, doesn't it, James?
Too much K.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Mariah Carey has a new single. GTFO.
I was going to say, get the fuck out.
Take my love for granted. You left me lost and disenchanted, bulldozed my heart as if you planned it. How about you get the fuck out? I mean, it's pretty. I sense an aging star. This feels Star is Born-ish, right? It's an aging star.
It feels Gloria Swanson. It's a little bit like, I've got to be like in with the kids. I've got to do what the kids are doing.
Here's the
I got to
thing.
talk like the kids.
Self-help books these days are all called "Get Your Shit Together" and "Just Fuck It." I mean,
but she is a woman of a certain age.
And she doesn't. It's not called "Get the Fuck Out." It's called
It's
GTFO.
GTFO.
Is that an expression for the kids before
Yeah,
this?
get the
it's like
fuck out.
LMFAO.
I'm just making
It's
sure
like
I don't talk like that to people.
text.
I figured. It's what I love about it is that it's cooey. It's like silk
breathy.
sheets. You want to like make love to her, and then she's like, "Get the fuck out."
Well, she is trying to sound like a 12-year-old.
Well, her appeal in her defense, she's always appealed to young girls. I remember when she came back with "We Belong Together." Like the reason that it was such a huge hit, it was a hit with teenage girls. So, have you seen the video?
Yes.
I've seen it. Yes.
She's like in 4 outfits, all lingerie,
Bordeaux hair. Just
Bardo
hair for your nerves.
and just like nylons. Just it must have been so much fun directing that and putting her in funny little positions and having her,
Was she? Is she carried around a lot in the video? Because she normally does. She normally performs in a
Like Lucille Ball
in
at
a
the end of
horizontal,
She's actually
position.
walking in about 3 different setups slowly.
Well,
but she's mostly on a couch or a bed.
Yes.
She did, I'm
Exactly.
gonna just say this. She looks a little bit like Angeline, like the hair and the little
That's
outfit.
the highest compliment you could give anybody, James.
The thing I love it is most likely based on a true story, right? She was engaged to James Packer, who is the son of a billionaire. I'm obsessed with billionaires at the moment.
Correct.
And they were engaged, and then they got divorced. Well, no, they didn't get divorced.
they were
only
engaged,
engaged.
huge ring.
Broke it off, and he had to pay her a multi-million settlement.
I love that.
Was it's called an inconvenience fee.
Yeah.
I'm going to be filing for an inconvenience fee.
That's what
very
I call my
soon.
salary for this show. An inconvenience fee. But see, the first person I thought of was, remember that her show on E, her short-lived show? Mariah's short-lived show?
Yes, what was it called? I forget.
Life with Mariah or something.
Right.
And then it was, but what was her manager's name?
They broke up.
Brett.
I forgot.
I
but
think
yeah.
I think the song is about her female manager, who they were like besties, but she was really
we shouldn't name
overbearing.
her because they'll sue us.
Are we going to work with her or something? Are we
don't
gonna?
know. No,
Is she coming in for a meeting? Do we have to be
One
careful?
never knows.
We never know. We'd love to meet you. No, but they, not us, they had a very contentious relationship and broke up. And it was, she
Did
was
she
big
get-
at VH1. She was in, you know who I mean.
yes.
And she was a big part of the show because she was
Right.
always trying to
Yes.
massage Mariah.
Right.
And now Mariah's, I didn't think of the billionaire. I thought of
wonder
her.
if she got an inconvenience fee. I want an inconvenience
I want an
fee.
inconvenience fee.
All right. Okay. So we got to take a quick break. Mariah Carey's new single GTFO, available now on iTunes, of course. Okay. It's last question.
Nope.
Last, James. are you-
Well, no, I'm trying to find some pictures from the last night.
Okay. Last Star is Born question before we talk about, perhaps maybe we'll talk about Star is Born. Okay, so
I think we're going to talk about Stars. I have a feeling.
it's possible, right? Okay, so who was supposed to play Ally, which is Lady Gaga's role in A Star is Born?
we know
Okay,
that.
okay, you can say-
When?
You could say
Beyonce.
Yes. Who was supposed to play Chris Christopherson, which is Barbara Streisand's love interest, in the 1976 Star is Born? Good question, huh? We'll have the answer right here on The Wow Report on Radio Andy, SiriusXM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy, SiriusXM. We count down every week the top 10 things that made us go, wow. James, you seem to have lapsed into a chant of some sort.
Well, I'm just trying to think of 70s people who were singers.
ask the question again.
Yeah,
The
okay,
question was, Star is Born is on our minds this week. The question was, who was going to be Barbara Streisand's love interest in the part ultimately played by Chris Christopherson?
And it was Barbara's first choice. She wanted.
Would it have been?
That's important detail.
Would it have been John Travolta or maybe Nick
Too soon,
Nick,
I think,
Nolte?
for him. Too late for him. Too early for him. I feel like it might
Burt?
be Burt Reynolds or Ryan O'Neal.
Oh, what about okay.
Well, you
That
know.
Tatum. No, that can.
Ryan O'Neal.
Okay, right.
And the answer is?
Oh, I don't know the answer.
The answer is Elvis.
Yes! I heard that.
Yep.
And he was on his last...
She-
that's such a good idea.
The reason it didn't happen is because his Colonel Parker, the
Yes.
guy that he was pissed that she didn't come to him first and went to Elvis.
But what a missed opportunity.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so we're going to reveal our number one.
Number 1.
Big surprise. Number one thing that made us go, wow, this week, Star is Born.
All right, I'm leaving.
But,
Tell me all about it.
Well, what's interesting, you see, this is the Elvis would have been so good in the 76 version, along with Barbara Streisand, because you have two stars, one on the way down, one on the way up. That's
And he
the
was
story.
definitely on his way down at that
Right.
point. Oh, he was just a bloated old...
Lady Gaga is amazing as the ingenue, the star on the way up. I mean, it's odd because she's not really a star on the way up in the sense that she's an established star, but I feel she is not. She's broken through that pop star ceiling and is going on to new heights
Megastar.
of stardom. Megastar. There's no question. After this film, she nails the part. It's her movie. She completely steals it.
No,
I
see,
think
no, this is
from
where I
Bradley
disagree.
Cooper. And
I
I'll just
disagree.
button my thought, which is simply that Bradley Cooper, brilliant actor though he is playing a rock and roll star, and he just isn't. He just isn't. He just couldn't.
I thought we
he
had
wrote
agreed that
one of the songs.
this is not what we talked about at all. You're going completely off script. You're going completely rogue here. And I just want to say, point counterpoint, goddammit. Bradley Cooper steals the movie outright from Lady Gaga.
No.
He is absolutely sexy as fuck. You have never seen, even at his lowest point, at his greasiest point, with the hair on his face, he is just, when he touches her nose, when he touches her eyebrow, every woman in the audience was making panty pudding. It was just, everyone squealed. It was
Ting,
the men
ting,
were
ting.
like,
Panty pudding. The word of the day. James, you won.
Our basements were flooded. It was absolutely. I mean, he is just, and he growls in the way he
Let's
sings.
just remember he is the director, so no one stole anything from him. He gave it away
He
to Lady
wrote,
Gaga.
he directed, he produced, and he starred in the movie. So you got to give him that.
And he doesn't carry it.
No,
Lady Gaga's. It's Lady Gaga's.
To this, I
But
disagree.
it's always the star. The star is always the woman in this movie.
No,
right?
no,
Judy
no.
Garland or James Mason.
Yeah, no,
Barbara Streisand or Chris Christopherson.
I get it. Let me just say this. Okay. There are a few moments where you feel like the movie is being improvised and they just let the camera go on them and they just sort of, there is a little mumblecore thing happening.
A little.
Where
You said you couldn't understand a word Sam Elliott said the entire
Sam
movie.
Elliott, God bless him, he plays the brother,
Yeah.
the stepbrother,
Yes.
and he growls, and the two of them when they're together, they
You cannot understand a word.
But I will say that there's the opening, the scene when they drag Lady Gaga on
Yes.
stage
In a gay bar.
No.
Oh,
This is
sorry.
the first time he drags her on stage at the auditorium, and she's like, "No, I can't do it," and then she starts belting out in that perfect Lady Gaga register of hers, and the song is in the shallows or something.
That's
like
what I
that.
hear. That
Yeah.
like just sets you
And
off.
Literally, it is as good as anything you will find on.
That was the interesting thing, wasn't it? The audience was applauding like the audience in the movie.
Yes.
It was like you couldn't really tell.
That's amazing.
You couldn't.
It's really like Versailles Hall of Mirrors in the courtiers of old. This sort of ritual of we're going to make a Star is Born. It's the ultimate sort of you're really a star if you're in a remake of The Star is Born. Because rest assured, there'll be more remakes of The Star is Born. And I actually have to think The Star is Born story is kind of like.
Well, it's a little hoary.
Yeah.
It's a little creaky. We've gone through this before. But the interesting thing about Lady Gaga to me is that she does this rock star thing. She's doing a pop star. He's a country star. She goes pop. But she doesn't go Lady Gaga.
No.
She's doing like a different kind of pop star. And it's interesting to see what another parallel universe Lady Gaga
I like
is.
that, yeah.
It's really good. There's a scene, though, where he takes her, he's at the Chateau Marmont, and he says, "You've got to be true to yourself.
Dig
you
deep."
dig deep and everything." And then you see her, and she's being all poppy and she's not digging deep.
She doesn't
and I
dig
think
deep.
it was a missed opportunity that they didn't go and explore that a little further. I thought they were going to. It was Saturday Night Live. She's played the first number and she's doing like a little pop thing. And I would have thought that she would have done a second.
And I'm surprised with Bradley Cooper, who's fundamentally so intense.
Yeah.
He kind of didn't go there, and it sort of.
And there's a few little writing problems that they're a little screenwriting 101 where at the very end he echoes.
James is the Joe Esther House.
How dare you? How dare you? I'm just trying to add a little intellectualism to this conversation. But no, at the very end, they echo the conversation they had, the first conversation they had, and you know when that's bookending from the first to the end, you know he's about to die. You know that's just where.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Well, no, I mean, there's no great surprise. The male star who's on the way down always dies. It's just, how's he going to die? Because in the other ones, if
He
you got
walks
a
into
car
the
crash,
ocean,
he walks
he's
into the
a car
ocean.
crash.
And I'll tell you this, it's different in this one.
Oh, good. I hear, you tell me, Shangela, Willem, both in the movie RuPaul's Drag Race Queens. I hear they kind of steal the show.
They do.
Yeah.
The movie begins with a bang, and in a way, it sort of slides because it becomes intense and earnest. It begins with a bang that really carries you through the first hour.
And what role they play? Drag queens that are sort of mentors
drag queens in the bar. And I have to say, Willem is
fantastic. Everyone,
funny.
it just laughs
Everyone's
and laughs
very
and
good.
laughs. Shangela is great.
Yep.
She performs at a drag club when he stumbles into the drag bar, and that's how
where he sees her.
Yeah, that's where he sees her for the first time.
I
She's
really
doing.
liked, who was the kid who plays Gaga's friend?
Well, that's the kid from Hamilton.
Okay.
He is, I can't remember his name, but he was like Thomas Jefferson, I think, in Hamilton. He's really
Lafayette.
cute. And then also the guy who plays her evil manager, Rafi Gazar.
Yes, he's very good,
Oh,
too.
he's very handsome.
But it's the usual thing of the evil Brit.
But then
Why?
Think about it.
Yeah. But it has, like I said, there's a lot of interesting cameos. Dave Chappelle is in it and for an extended period.
As
Andrew Dice Clay.
Andrew Dice Clay is really
Andrew Dice Clay is in it?
He plays her father, and he does a fantastic job. He's really, really very good. And I think you remember in Blue Jasmine, he was in that, the Woody
Yeah, he
Allen.
can act.
Yeah, and so I think Hollywood has forgiven him for his transgression in the 80s.
Yeah, plus he looks completely unrecognizable.
Yeah.
And how great that just a little that the two of the drag queens, they're just drag, they're more than that, but like that they're in this and that they're part of this cultural moment. And what Lady Gaga seems to pay homage to her drag root.
Well, and I read an interview with Shangela where she said that in those scenes that Bradley just came up to her and said, "Listen, I know you know your lines, but I want you all just to do whatever you do. Just do it." And afterwards, he went up to her and he grabbed her face and she was like, "Don't touch the makeup." And he was like, "Do it again. That was spectacular. I love everything you're doing." So everyone on the set was very accepting and very great.
Makes me feel good.
All right. Okay, that's all we got time for this week. Our Resistor of the week.
Beto O'Rourke.
Yes.
I mean, he's just going to be the next president.
Exactly. So we just wanted to say it here first.
Yeah, no, he's so. I love him.
I didn't know that Beto O'Rourke was in Star is Born, but that's great.
He looks very Kennedy-esque, I feel. He's
He
got the
does.
Kennedy look.
Yeah.
And he was, in a punk rock band, and he performed in a dress.
No.
He was on an album cover. He's in a dress, and he just after he debated Ted Cruz, he went skateboarding at Whataburger
He is a modern man for sure.
I know, but he went skateboarding in the parking lot at Whataburger. Like, how hot is that?
Gay amazing. Come on down to DragCon this weekend. We'll be there.
Tickets at the door.
What?
Tickets at the door.
Yeah, don't be afraid if you don't have tickets. Get them at the door. There's
Or
still
if you're
tickets
fabulous,
available.
you could just get in for free.
Yeah. And Swing Left Presents will be there. That's my pick. The Resistance. 2018 midterms coming. They're the most important elections of our lifetimes. Bob the Drag Queen, Corey Johnson, Marty Gold Cummings, and others. Raymond Braun, YouTube star.
And the Rue Talks with Charles
Oh my
M. Blow.
God, yes, that's going to be fantastic. Rue is having an intimate conversation with Charles M. Blow, the amazing editorial writer of the New York Times.
Yeah.
Okay, well, our cup overfloweth. Wow. So same place, same time next week. Until then, go out and do something that makes the world go
Wow.
Bye.